As we're beginning this series, let's begin with some normal grief symptoms that can make us feel a little bit crazy. And these are ones that I personally experienced and at times really questioned my sanity as they were unfolding. Again, for context, I've been studying the neuroscience of trauma for over a decade at the time of which I was widowed. So I knew a lot about what was happening in my mind and my body as I was going through a lot of these symptoms. And yet, I could not control my brain. I was still stuck in the symptoms. And B, really struggled to make sense out of them and to move into what the next video is going to be all about, have some self-compassion for the journey. So, if you've been on a grieving journey as you watch this video, notice if anything is coming up for you. And if you start to feel some emotional activation, I of course invite you to do that CPR for the amygdala exercise. It is linked in the show notes below and is a wonderful opportunity to help your mind and your body heal through any lingering triggers that are continuing to be carried in your brain. One of my favorite things about healing in your hands. So let's get started. Have you ever noticed that you consistently expect the person who is no longer here to walk through the door? There might be specific times of day where you seem highly attuned or even vigilant to the fact that that person is supposed to show up or text or even call on the phone at a specific time. And as that time clicks by, perhaps some anxiety shows up or greater levels of stress, which then, of course, are met with a downfall on the other side. Might be moving into anguish, sadness, or even weeping over the loss, the fact that this person isn't coming back. Those experiences are completely normal. Our system is used to building patterns in order to guide and navigate our day-to-day lives. Our brain is actually very, very lazy. And we have specific cells that tune into where people are supposed to be or what patterns are supposed to be fulfilled every single day. And when those anticipatory needs are not met, our brain has a little bit of a whiplash experience going, why isn't this happening? It's supposed to happen. And it can create a reliving of the loss over and over and over again. Good job, brain. High five. Not really. It's very painful and very confusing. Similarly, if we're experiencing loss, and I want to be mindful to highlight that loss isn't just about death. Loss can be about so many experiences. If we're navigating a journey of loss, those expectations and those patterns are not just tied to certain times of the day. They can be tied to times of the year. Anniversaries are huge. And even if we've had a good several months, an anniversary might come by and all of a sudden we feel like we're knocked back on our butts and we're right back in the grief and the loss. Also very normal. Our mind and our body take time to process, to create a new way forward. And when we're building a new relationship with something, there's a lot of different neurochemicals going on that create motivated engagement and excitement and all of that feel-good stuff about building a relationship with somebody. Well, imagine that our brain goes into withdrawal around all of that when the loss starts. And we can also go back into that withdrawal anytime we're reminded of the loss. Another super weird thing about loss is that we will be dreaming about the person. We might roll over in the middle of the night and expect to see a text message or even have them lying next to us. And in that discombobulated state of wake and sleep, even feel like they're there with us. No, you're not hallucinating. This, again, is normal. Our mind and our body have certain cells within them that go, this is what's supposed to be happening. Just like if you've ever rearranged the room and find that you're able to avoid the space where the coffee table used to be, but you keep walking into the space where the coffee table is now, your mind and your body expect things to stay in a certain space until they're able to reorient themselves. So, normal. Even though it can feel very scary to wake up in the middle of the night and expect somebody is going to be there and they are not. Another really common and very scary experience is yearning to move on and be with the person who is no longer here. A lot of clinicians will call these experiences thoughts of suicide. When it comes to grief, it's very different from suicidal thoughts. When we're going into a grieving journey, it is as though we have attachment anxiety. Our system has come to expect that a person is there, and when they're no longer there, even if we know that, the rest of our system is still anticipating their presence. This goes back to the earlier idea of that vigilance, of expecting they will walk into the room. But there's also another part to it: the waiting, the yearning, the expectation. And when our mind and our body cannot reconcile that, there can be another part that shows up and says, I just want to go be with them. It's the system looking for a relief from feeling that anxiousness, the stress, and the overwhelm. And also, grief is frankly exhausting. And we'll talk about that a lot more in the other videos. If you have those thoughts, please, I invite you to lean into a space of self-compassion, self-care, and self-love. Your mind and your body system are looking for a relief from the expectation and the hope that that person will come back, and also a desire to be connected to the individual. This is very real and important to honor. That being said, of course, if you are looking at experiencing thoughts of wanting to hurt yourself or have a plan of action to join somebody on the other side, please do reach out and get help. We have attached in the show notes some access lines for help and support. Use those, they're wonderful. The part of this that's really important to pay attention to is that our system is growing into a completely new way of being as we go on this journey. That new way of being is painful. We are climbing through the darkness in order to find a new way into the light. And you are not alone if you're on this journey. There'll be many more videos around this topic. In fact, I'm releasing a book on this coming fall, winter, which is really exciting. And it's also a gift that I gave myself in writing it, to honor the experience of what this journey has been like for me and to hopefully make it a little more sane for somebody else who's going through it. So if you're watching this video and you have been on your own grief and loss journey, please put some information in the notes. Share with other people what are the weird things that actually are pretty normal that you experienced. Because grief is weird. It is so weird. And even though loss is something that happens to us all, we are not equipped with the skills to deal with it in a very successful way. And I'm hopeful that as a community, we can start to shift that pattern and create a new way forward for all of us.